Okay, Coach Kelsa here, owner and OG financial coach behind Fiscal Fitness. And I'm super excited to go live today for this impromptu workshop discussing all things financial or student loan forgiveness. In case you haven't heard, there was an announcement earlier this week by the Biden administration on Wednesday. They announced that the federal government will cancel up to $20,000 in student loan debt for millions of Americans. And we are going to dive into all of the specifics about that today in this video. We're going to talk about who qualifies, how do you take advantage of it if you are one of the people who qualifies, what to do going forward if you are one of 23.9 million borrowers who will likely feel some financial and emotional relief from this initiative. We want to know or be able to share with you exactly how to make the most of this. Also, some things to watch out for anytime there's big announcements like this. This is like an invitation for scammers, right? To like come out. So we're going to give you some steps that you can take to ensure you make the most of this and you don't fall victim to any scams that might happen right now. Absolutely the best thing you can do if you get to take advantage of this is to use this to propel your life and finances forward. And so we're going to talk about exactly how you can do that. I'm also going to spend just a few minutes addressing some of you who may be feeling either some resentment or frustration towards this forgiveness right now. Maybe you paid off all of your own loans yourself. Maybe you saved and paid cash for college, or any number of other situations that mean this program doesn't apply to you, and maybe you're feeling a little bit yucky about that. That's totally okay. I'm going to coach you at the end of this video as well. So first things first, this is new. Yes, there have been loan forgiveness programs around for a while, but this one this week is new. It is different, it is better, and so I'm going to talk about the specifics of that. Second, this program does a lot more than just cancel some student loans for people. So even if you don't think you qualify for loan forgiveness, please continue to listen to this video. You may qualify for some of the other benefits that are also a part of this initiative. Third, please share this video with friends and family or tag them in the comments, invite them to join this group. Let them know that this is a video resource for them. We're going to help them tackle all things student loan forgiveness. So if, you have a family member or a friend, there are a lot of people who are feeling hope for the first time in probably a while. And there are a lot of people online throwing shade as if this is some handout for lazy people. And it is crucial for those with student loans to feel encouraged, because shame is a demotivator for people, okay? So I want you to invite them to watch this video, and let's help them to make the most of this, feel encouraged and excited about their money, okay? Finally, stay all the way till the end, because there's a little extra credit point that I want to share with you regarding taxes and the forgiven debt balance that you may be receiving. I want to talk about that. I'm going to talk about it at the very, very end, but it's really important, so stick with me all the way to the end, okay? So let's talk about the problem. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the student loan crisis in our country, but let's just say that it's an absolute disaster, and it has been for quite a while. The problem absolutely needs to be addressed from many perspectives in order to truly solve the problem. Just one of those ways is canceling some debt for borrowers and providing some relief, okay? But it is just one. There's a lot of other things that also need to happen. It's not the point of this video. This is just one aspect of providing some relief for part of this crisis, and that's the part that we want to focus on today. We have at Fiscal Fitness really hardworking, driven clients who have been paying their student loans for over 10 years easily. Every single month like clockwork, never late, for 10 years, and they owe more today than when they graduated college, despite paying on those loans for 10 years. Imagine having a mortgage-size debt payment every month and knowing that no matter how long you pay for it, you will still have it forever. Clients often will say to us, I'm going to have these until I die. And it's not just students or those who went to college, it's parents of students who took out loans too. These loans are stifling, suffocating, and depressing for people. And for many Americans, The student loan crisis has resulted in a really tragic impact of having no hope, no motivation to do better financially, and it has absolutely robbed people of a desire to strive for more because they have been so stifled with these student loan payments. The payments on student loans have prevented millions of people from buying homes, investing in real estate, starting families, launching businesses that are their passion project, and so many other opportunities that I think make life better, right? So what is the program? The program provides relief for student loan borrowers by canceling up to $20,000 in debt. And I'm going to talk about who qualifies for that in just a second. But it also does a lot more than just forgive debt. And I want to talk about those as well. So it also does the following. It extends the pause on federal student loan payments through December of this year. So you want to get ready because in January, if you have a balance after this forgiveness and you have payments starting back up, those payments will be starting back again in January. My recommendation, a really good strategy for you to use right now, is get that payment back on your budget right now, but maybe just transfer it to savings or do something with it, but get used to feeling it ahead of time. That way the money is leaving your account. You can even assign a due date to it, that kind of thing, but get that payment going now. Be proactive about that. That way when it actually does kick in, you're actually ready for it, okay? Number 2, it lowers the payment amount required from 10% of discretionary income to 5% of discretionary income. They're also adjusting the formula slightly, so how they get to discretionary income is actually going to be more favorable now than it was before. So what this essentially means is the minimum that you had to pay is essentially being cut in half for millions of people who will have student loan balances remaining, which will provide additional cash flow relief each and every month going forward. The average student loan payment in the US for 2021 was $393, and it's going up consistently every single year. That means almost $200 more in people's budgets. And I know for a lot of our clients, I mean, we have clients who are paying $2,000, $2,500 a month in student loan payments, which again is like a mortgage size for a lot of people, sometimes doubles what some people's mortgages are or rent payments are. So the idea is that this percentage will actually allow that payment, that required amount, to be cut in half, which could free up a substantial amount of money every month for a lot of people. Now, number 3, this initiative also fixes the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, PSLF, which has been around for a while but was a total tragedy in execution. The program was designed to honor those who work for nonprofits, in the military, local, state, national, tribal governments, and the idea was that your loans could be forgiven after 10 years. Unfortunately, the execution of this program was an absolute disaster. And what they discovered was that out of all of the millions of people who applied for forgiveness, who actually went into fields where they were going to make less money and worked there for 10 years, let's say, when they went to apply for the forgiveness that they were qualified to receive, fewer than 1% of people who applied were actually approved because the program was so poorly managed, okay? There have been recent changes that have improved this program. So there are still going to be fixes to it, I have no doubt, but it is better than it was, and that is a really good thing. So some of those changes include streamlining the application process, making it more accessible for people, and making the requirements simpler and easier to prove when you submit your paperwork. Okay. Instead of reapplying year after year, you can simply submit proof of income now, and it's going to be a much faster renewal process from one year to the next. And again, it's a 10-year program, right? So you have to reapply every year essentially, but they're going to speed up that process. They are now allowing credit for years worked, even if you didn't do the full 10 years. This is huge, you guys. So if you were somebody that went to work for a nonprofit or went into a government job and you only worked there for 5 years, and then let's say you left to start a family or to change careers or something like that, if you didn't work there for 10 years, you didn't get any credit for those limited amount of years. And they're changing that. So they're actually doing for time served, you can receive credit and some sort of benefit, which is huge. This is a huge benefit. They're also instituted some regulatory changes to ensure effective implementation of the PSLF program going forward so that we're not back in the situation that we have found ourselves in, okay? Now, the reason this is so important, I know you guys, we have had so many clients that we have helped them and assisted them in completing the application for approval. We have made sure that they were on the right payment plans for student loans, for forgiveness for this program, that they did everything right and they were still denied. They were part of that 99+% of people that should have been approved for loan forgiveness and weren't, and nobody knew why. It has been such a disaster for years. We have clients who paid for years, every single month, their student loan payment for loans that they never should have had anymore, that should have been approved. It was such a disaster. We have seen this. We've been on the front lines of this with clients and that sort of thing, and it has been incredibly frustrating. So if you have ever been denied, if you applied for this program, if you were denied, if you worked someplace for, let's say, a few years and then left, and you didn't think you qualified because you didn't work someplace for 10 years, like a nonprofit or in the government, then consider reapplying. You may be approved for a loan forgiveness amount, and it is worth testing that. It is worth experimenting and see if you can't have some of your student loans forgiven because they've made these changes to this program. And last but not least, the other change to the, or announced as part of this initiative, is that the floor for your income has been increased. So what that means is if you make a certain amount of money or less, you were not required to make payments on your student loans. They increased that to be 225% above the poverty level. Now, the other thing that a lot of people didn't know about federal student loans is that they can garnish your wages without warning. They do not need to take you to court. They do not need to get a garnishment approval by a judge or anything like that. You could literally just get your paycheck one day and see that it is garnished up to 15% of your income. And they have also lowered that percentage. And I don't remember what it is, if it's 5 or 10%, I can't remember. But they've lowered the maximum amount that can be garnished from someone's wages. Of course, they can still do it without warning, which is not ideal, but just something to keep in mind. Okay, so they've actually lowered that, and they've increased the level of income that so you can make just slightly more and not be required to make a payment. Okay, so who qualifies for the loan forgiveness element of this initiative? Let's dive into that. Individuals with federal loans making less than $125,000 as an individual, or $250,000 married, can have $10,000 of student loan balance canceled. Okay? Federal student loans making less than $125K as an individual, or $250K married, $10,000 canceled. And I know I've been getting a couple of messages on Instagram and Facebook and those types of things. Our clients have been emailing us. And the question we keep hearing is this for real? I'm skeptical. I don't know if I want to believe it. And if that doesn't tell you something about how if people are afraid to get their hopes up, and they have been feeling one way about their student loans for so long that they're afraid to feel hope again around student loans. This is real. It's okay to be skeptical. I totally understand. But yes, this is true. If you have federal student loans include Parent Plus loans. So if you are a parent who took out Parent Plus loans for your child, and it also includes PLUS loans, which are those types of loans that are used for graduate school. Okay. So it does not apply to private student loans or federal family education loans, which are FFEL. It'll say that right on your statement if it's a federal family education loan. So those two types of loans do not apply. Federal student loans only, and Parent Plus loans, which is a federal student loan. The eligibility is based on your adjusted gross income from your 2020 or 2021 tax return. Either one, okay? So if you were to pull up your tax return, and I can't remember the line number on it. It's either like the bottom of the first page or the top of the second page. There will be a very specific line on your tax return, your federal return, that says adjusted gross income. You can look at your 2020 return or 2021, and as long as it's $125,000 or less for an individual, $250,000 or less for married couple, then you qualify if you have federal student loans, okay? You did not need to graduate in order to qualify. So if you completed 2 years of school and you have federal student loans as a result, but you didn't get your degree, you still qualify for the loan forgiveness. Now, if you received a Pell Grant for school, you can bump up the cancellation amount from $10,000 to $20,000. Now, if you're not sure what a Pell Grant is, it is a government subsidy that helps low-income families get to college. It has been around for decades, you guys, for a very, very long time. It is essentially a grant based on financial need. So the thought process is that those who received a Pell Grant likely required more student loan assistance in order to get through their 4 years of college or however many years of college. So this is a way of lifting up those who had a true need initially when they were going in. And approximately 60% of Pell Grant recipients are receiving the $20,000 bonus. Okay, so I mean, a lot of the money from this initiative is going to go to Pell Grant recipients, which I think is really great, you guys. I received a Pell Grant when I went to college. I was a first generation college student. I actually had no idea about going to college. Like, this was not a conversation that I had with my parents or anything like that. I remember I was at my friend Megan's house one day, and her mom and her were talking about college applications and that sort of thing. And her mom looked at me and said, "Which schools did you apply for?" And I must have just looked like I had no idea what was going on, because I didn't. And I remember saying, I don't know, none, I didn't, And thank God for her, honestly, because the next time I came over, she had 3 college applications there. She had the FAFSA form. She had little flags on it of parts that I needed to have my mom fill out, because this was just not something that I was aware of. It was not a big conversation in my house growing up. It was, just not part of my world as a child. And thank God for my friend's mom, who sat me down, encouraged me to fill out those college applications. I did end up receiving a Pell Grant plus some scholarships, and also I graduated with about $30,000 in student loan debt as well. And that's after a Pell Grant and after scholarships. So, and this was back a long time ago. I don't want to date myself too much, but so Pell Grants are huge. I have no doubt that, I know I received one. I didn't know much about it at the time. So I know it goes to people who have a financial need. So I want to give you a quick qualification checklist. So if you're like, okay, wait, how do I know? I'm confused. How do I know? I'm going to give you yes or no questions to help determine if you qualify for student loan forgiveness as part of this initiative this week. Question 1 is, do you have federal student loans, Parent Plus loans, or plus loans for graduate school? Okay, all 3 of those qualify. So if you say yes to that, we're going to move on to the next question. Question number 2, is your adjusted gross income from your 2020 or 2021 tax return lower than $125,000 if you're single or $250,000 if you're married? If you said yes to both, you're likely going to be receiving up to $10,000 in loan forgiveness. It really depends on your current balance. If you currently owe $8,000 on your student loans, then that $8,000 will be forgiven, okay? If you owe more than $10,000 will be forgiven. I'm going to talk with you in just a second about how do you go about receiving that money. Okay, so just sit tight for a second. Now, third question on your checklist is, did you receive a Pell Grant for your higher education? And if the answer is yes, you'll likely be receiving up to an additional $10,000 in loan forgiveness, which is incredible, okay? So what do you do if you qualify? How do you get up to this $10,000, $20,000? Okay, so I'm going to give you a few steps to take here. First, don't fall for scams right now. Second, make sure your loan service provider can locate you. So make sure your phone number, your email address, and your mailing address are all up to date. The name should be on your statement so that you know where to go, either who to call. And I know for many of you, maybe you haven't looked at your student loan statements in a while. You don't want to look at it. Try to pull one up, try to find one. If you can't find one, go to your credit report. So you can go to creditkarma.com, and likely the servicer of your loan will be listed as the creditor on your credit report as well. So you'll want to get there. You want to make sure that all of your contact information is up to date. That way, if they need anything from you, they can get in touch with you. Okay. Third, I would take screenshots right away, right now, today, of your current balance, your rate. I would also go to creditkarma.com and download a credit report right now. With this massive initiative, with huge volume of changes like this, errors and issues are likely to occur in some capacity. Hopefully it's small, but it's bound to happen a little bit. So you want to keep an eye on both of these things, the student loan balance and then your credit report, to ensure that everything happens as it should going forward, okay? If you ended up having, let's say you've got $22,000 right now and you end up getting a credit for $4,000 when you should get $10,000, you'll want to make sure you have that documented, where it was like, no, my balance was this, and then after the credit it was this, right? So I would absolutely take some screenshots or download from the website if you have login, that kind of thing. Do that right away. Now, if you're not sure who your servicer is, you can also go to studentaid.gov, and there is a link on that website, studentaid.gov, and there's a link that says, who is my loan servicer? The website is crashing right now due to high traffic, so please be patient, but keep checking it, studentaid.gov. If you are on an income-based repayment plan currently, which means you have already submitted your income to the Department of Education. So this can be any number of things. There's a few of those, right? The income-based repayment plans, IBR, you'll often see IBR on things. If that is the case, you actually don't need to do anything to apply for the forgiveness. But keep an eye out for any communications from them in case they need to verify anything. But you've already submitted your income as proof for the income-based repayment, so they already know that, which is really the only thing they would want to confirm. Now, for others, if you are not on an income-based repayment, there will be an application that you'll have to complete, but it is not available yet. The Department of Education is estimating this to be available by the end of the year. So again, keep checking studentaid.gov for updates. Also, keep following us here in the group and also on Instagram, because we will be giving you updates as soon as we have them. We'll obviously keep communicating this, especially with our clients and that sort of thing. So we'll be sure to make an announcement when we know that the application has become available. So here is a quick checklist for you. Only talk with the Department of Education or your loan servicer and no one else. Do not fall for scams. Nobody else should be needing to talk to you about this or anything like that. Please, please, please do not fall for scams. Do not send your social security number, pay stubs, anything like that to anybody other than the Department of Education or your current loan servicer. Number 2, print, download, take a screenshot of your current statement that shows your current balance. Number 3, print, download, or take a screenshot of your credit report as of today or as soon as possible, and you can do that through creditkarma.com. That's credit with a C, karma with a K, creditkarma.com. Update your contact information with your service provider. That way they can notify you if they need anything. Keep an eye out for any updates and communications. Like I said, we will try and keep you guys updated as soon as we know more. And then make sure you're following us on Instagram, here in the Facebook group, and then on our mailing list as updates become available. We will keep you posted as well. So now I wanted to talk, before we get into the taxes, I want to talk about, let's say you are in any one of these beneficial positions where you're getting some debt forgiven. Maybe your payment is now cut in half, which is amazing. Maybe your income is at the level where you now don't need to make payments anymore and that sort of thing. There are also some benefits, you guys, around interest and them not capitalizing the interest as much. And so just really good things all around. If you are one of those people that every month made your payment and yet every month saw your balance on your student loans increasing instead of decreasing, there are a number of changes that should be helping with that. They're also talking about changing it from forgiveness after 20 years and making it 10 years of payments and those types of things. So lots of benefits coming down. And with anything new that happens, just know, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember back when during COVID and the PPP loans and the EIDL and just all of, I mean, it was every day something was changing, it seemed like. And so we obviously were keeping you guys updated then, and we will do the same here as well. But let's say you are one of those people, you are getting probably relief in an area of your finances where you thought you would probably never see relief, possibly, right? I imagine you're feeling hope for the first time in a long time. I hope that you're feeling like, wow, there's some potential here. There's some possibilities. There's some things I've thought about doing for a while that I just kept pushing to the back of my mind because I felt so crummy about student loans and I just thought I could never afford it and those types of things. I want to speak with you for just a second about how can we make sure that you are making the most of this? What are some things you can do, some things you can think through to make sure that you really seize this as an opportunity to do great things with your money, okay? Number one, what I would love for you to do is allow yourself to dream a little bit. One of the things that we hear from our clients with big, massive student loan balances is that they sort of stifle their dreaming and their goal setting and their vision and what they think is possible for themselves. And I want to invite you to allow yourself to do that, okay? I want you to think about, there's probably been a number of times where you've thought, I would love to do that. And then the next thought is about these damn student loans, right? And so then you just squash that dream, that moment. I want you to stop and allow yourself to think about all of those things. What were those things? If you could decide today, what kinds of things would you love to do in the next few years? What types of changes would you love to make? What types of investments in yourself would you love to make, right? What kinds of things would you love to do? How could your life be better if you just had a little bit more money, right? What are all of those things? And allow yourself to dream about those. Allow yourself to write them out. Actually get them out of your head and write them down. This is a valuable exercise for a number of reasons. Gets you forward thinking, gets you thinking about your future, gets you dreaming, which is really important. And in order to do that, you have to see yourself in your future. So it actually sort of just catapults your energy forward and just shifts everything about the way you think and that sort of thing. It's really, really valuable. It also takes it from an idea and gets it on paper, which is something that we also want to do. So please take some time to do this. And then what I want you to do after you have this beautiful list of all of these really cool things you could do and achieve in your life, I want you to try and narrow it down to 3. And I want you to ask yourself, if I could only pick 3, what are the 3 that I would pick? And this step, going from a long list to 3, is probably the hardest, okay? But I want you to try and do that. And try to remind yourself that it doesn't mean you're not going to do all the other things. It just means you're not going to do them yet, right? You're not going to do them first. They're not a priority to you. So if you could only pick 3 of those things, which would those 3 things be? And I want you to highlight them, star them, put an asterisk next to it, circle them, do whatever it is, okay? But I want you to narrow it down to 3. And now what I want you to do is narrow it down to 1. And I want you to ask yourself some really important questions. Out of these 3 things, which one of these has the potential to make my life better the fastest or in the best way, right? So they're probably all great, but which one would make you feel the most excited? Which one would give you a zest for life? Oftentimes, those who have been really suffocated by student loans for a long time, I would say that one thing that we sense really early on in coaching is that it's robbed them of a little bit of a zest for life, right? And we want you to get that back right now, okay? So I want you to think about that. Which one of these has the potential to really set you up in other ways? Which one's going to have the best long-term impact for you, okay? Which one of those things is going to serve you best long into your future as well? And I want you to pick that one thing, okay? Now, what I want you to know is, Having a plan with your money is the fastest way to achieve that thing. Okay, I promise. Whatever it is, it does not matter what goal a client has. Money makes it easier to achieve that goal. It's simply a tool to get what we want out of life, right? So creating a plan with your money is going to be the fastest way for you to make that happen for yourself, for you to achieve that goal. And we have a webinar coming up on August 30th. It is like right around the corner. It is perfect timing to help you seize this amazing opportunity. It's at 2 p.m. Arizona time, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. I included the link above where you can register. It's totally free. It's a live webinar, and it's literally all about helping you create a plan for a goal that you have in life. It's literally perfect if you know your one thing that you would love to achieve with some additional relief and some extra cash flow that you have right now. I am telling you, this webinar is perfect for you. The timing could not be better, and I would love to have you join us on August 30th for our free webinar. Please register and join us, and let's make it so that you are setting yourself up for absolute success. Think about all of the times where you thought, if only I didn't have my student loans, or if only I had a smaller payment on these student loans, or if only I wasn't spending so much every month on these student loans. All of those things, all of the ways you would feel differently about life and the things you're trying to create, that's what we want to capture right now as best as possible. And so between doing those first couple of exercises, that thought work, allowing yourself to dream, and then narrow it down to 3, and then narrow it down to your favorite one, and then the webinar that we have coming up, I have no doubt that it's like the 1-2 punch to really make the most of this. Okay, so I would love to have you. Now, I said I would address some of you who might be feeling a little frustrated or a little jaded or a little resentment towards this idea of student loan forgiveness. And like I said, you could feel this for any number of reasons. Maybe you simply disagree that this should even be a thing, right? Maybe you worked really hard to pay off your student loans after you graduated college. Maybe you didn't take out student loans because you worked really hard to save for college and pay cash for it. I know personally, I graduated with $30,000 in student loans. We paid them off right after college, or like a couple of years after college, I think it was. I am so proud of that. And I want other people to feel that sense of pride. And my fear for you, if you feel resentment right now, if you feel frustrated because someone else is getting $10,000 in student loan relief and you didn't, you are robbing yourself of feeling immense pride in what you accomplished, okay? I believe, and this is something we coach our clients on all the time, because the reality is that comparing what we have and the things that we are able to do with our money and our income and the things we spend our money on to other people in our life, whether that's friends or family members, is a very normal thing for all of us, right? For every single one of our clients, they've experienced it. So this is a part of our normal coaching conversations oftentimes. And it's especially true right now, okay? For every moment we spend thinking about what someone else is doing, or what they have that we don't have, or what they get that we don't have, it's simply not productive thought, right? It is moments in time where instead of thinking about feeling grateful for what we have and feeling proud of ourselves for the work that we did, and we will have that sense of pride. I've had it ever since we did it, right? Ever since my husband and I paid off our debt, I have enjoyed that sense of pride for myself and the confidence that I was able to do that. And there's a whole lot of people, millions, tens of millions of Americans who have not felt that ever in their life. And maybe this is the boost they need to start feeling that for themselves too, right? And we can feel compassion. We can feel frustrated, right? We can feel a little annoyed and that kind of thing. I really want to encourage you to do it for as short a time as possible, because you can feel lots of different things, but you get to choose which one of those emotions you lead with. And I choose to lead with compassion. I personally have faith in people. I believe that people are going to make the most of this. I believe that this is going to allow some parents to not work 2 jobs and be able to have dinner with their families at night. I think it's going to allow some people to start businesses and become happier, better contributors to the world because they're simply more satisfied and more fulfilled in this world. I believe that yes, there are going to be some people who squander this and don't make the most of it. And there's nothing I can do about that. But what I do also know is that there's a lot of people who feel encouraged for the very first time in a long time with their finances. And one of the things that I want to be careful that we create a community and a space and messaging around is that shame is a demotivator. It's a short-term motivator that actually creates slower progress and actually negative progress in the long term. And by perpetuating this message that it was unfair, these types of things, we're planting those seeds of doubt in people and making it so maybe they don't ask for help. Maybe they don't lean in. The analogy I think of is it's like you see someone drowning and someone throws them a raft and we're sitting there yelling, you should have learned to swim, right? As opposed to saying to that person, they get safe, you get them off the side and you say, I am so glad you're safe. I can only imagine how scary that was. If this has made it so you think you might want to learn to swim after this, I'm here to teach you, right? To me, that's the energy that we want to have. And I also want you to focus on how can you create even more in your life? How can you set yourself up for success? How can you get more of what you want in life? And anytime we're spending our thoughts and our energy thinking about what other people are doing and what they're, creating and that kind of thing, we're not thinking about productively and proactively, like how we're going to make that for ourselves as well. Okay. I promise that I get it. I can understand it. And also what I want for you is for you not to sit in that feeling. Okay. I want you to, lift yourself up out of that. Now, the extra credit of this video is around taxes. This is really important. Thanks for hanging in there, you guys. Now, in case you didn't know, oftentimes when a debt is forgiven, if let's say a company writes off a credit card balance or a medical bill or something like that, oftentimes that balance that is forgiven is income on your taxes. So in this example, if you got $10,000 in student loans forgiven, the idea is that that would add $10,000 to your income on your tax return. But because it's not real, you still have to pay taxes on it, but that money didn't come out of your paycheck or anything like that. So let's say you're in a 12% tax bracket, just for easy math here, and you got $10,000 forgiven. Technically before, bear with me, that would mean, let's say $1,200 in a tax bill coming to you, but it's not like you actually have $10,000, right? It's not like you have $10,000 sitting in your bank. They just lowered your debt balance by $10,000. Now, that is typically how debt forgiveness works when it comes to your taxes. However, between now and 2025, these amounts that are being forgiven as part of the student loan forgiveness is not going to be reported, is not going to be income on your tax return. This is very important. This is huge, guys. This is also a huge benefit, okay? So instead of getting a big tax bill, you likely will not, with one little caveat. There are some state taxes. I believe there are 12 states right now, and I'll try and link to the article in the comments of this, where there may be state taxes on the forgiven amount. So if it's $10,000 or $20,000 or anything in between, right? Because it's going to be whatever your balance is on your student loan. Some states may charge you tax. So what I would love to see you do, and you can easily Google this, I'll also link to the article that talks about the state taxes, but just be careful because this is new. Like this initiative was just announced this week, and so it could take some time for the states to announce how they're going to treat it, okay? So even though a state right now is saying that it's taxable, does not necessarily mean that it will become tax time, okay? Now, just to be safe, what I would hate to have happen is that you have this forgiven, you're excited, you're being strategic, you're putting your money behind your goals, you're feeling so much better about life, and then you get hit with a huge tax bill that you're not ready for. And I don't want it to feel like 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, okay? So what I would love, many of you likely are either seeing a decrease in your payment amount, your monthly payment, so it's either getting cut in half or just being lower because you owe less money in your student loans, right? Or because they're changing the percentage that's required. So lots of different things there that could be at play. Or possibly you won't have a payment at all. So if you owe $10,000 or less and all of your student loans are now forgiven, then that payment is likely freed up. What I would love for you to do for the next few months at least, or maybe even between now and tax time, if you think you might be in one of those states where state taxes may be incurred on the forgiven amount, is to take that payment amount or take the difference and put it into savings for a little while. Call it taxes, okay? Say like my oh shit fund, like I'm getting ready for it just in case. Here's what you want. Here's the goal with this. The goal is that come tax time, you go to file your taxes and you don't need the money that you have in savings, and that money in savings gets to go to whatever goal you're working towards. That's what we're after, right? But I would rather have that happen than the alternative, which is that you get a tax bill and you're not ready for it, and it can be very frustrating, okay? So just be prepared for that. I do not believe that there's any federal taxes that are going to be incurred on the forgiven amount, but there could be state taxes, and so I just want you to be ready for that. I hope this video was helpful for you on student loans. If you want to talk with a financial coach, this is what we do. We talk about your mindset. We talk about your behaviors. We help you create a plan with your money. We help you get organized. We help you set goals, and we help you put your money behind them. And if that is something that you would love help with, please reach out to us. I will also include a link to a quick call to hop on with a coach so you can talk more about that. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And yes, this is real. And yes, you should allow yourself to feel hopeful and excited and a zest for life again. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.